My name's Lucy May. I'm the vocalist for the band Closure. Yeah, we're a post-hardcore band from Sydney. Yeah.
That'll do me for the day. How you going? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So, Closure are headed to Big Sound 2025, which will be held in Brisbane's Fortitude Valley from September 2nd to September the 5th. So, not long away now. Are you starting to get a bit nervous?
Very excited. We were in Brisbane last week on tour with Banks Arcade. And we were seeing like all the posters around with our name on it. So it was really exciting. Can't wait to get up there.
Not bad. And Big Sound features more than 120 bands playing over 18 stages. So, it's going to be busy. It's not all fun, is it?
No, I think it'll be really hectic, but I've seen a lot of stuff like I think there's a Spotify hub and there's a couple of different things just to make sure the artists are feeling supported and stuff, which I think is really cool. So keen to check some of that out as well.
Yeah, and there's heaps more too. Like you've got the showcase gigs, there's workshops, there's speeches, there's networking to be done. Like, have you started planning your time here yet, or are you sort of going to leave that to the plane maybe and cross it off on there?
I'm not sure. There's definitely some bands that we want to catch, some Sydney bands and some other bands that we haven't seen before. I would love to go to a couple of the chats and see. I'm not sure exactly what's on. I need to look. But yeah, we'll definitely be making the most of our time up there for sure.
Yeah, and what days and venues is the Closure plan? Do you know?
We're doing Wonderland upstairs, and then we're doing Rick's Backyard. I think it's a Wednesday and a Thursday, or a Tuesday and a Thursday. And on the Monday night, it's not related to Big Sound, but we're doing a Destroy All Lines showcase at the Bright Side.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's just before it kicks off, which will be really fun.
Nice. And how did you guys actually get involved? Like I know heaps of bands every year try to get part of Big Sound. So how did Closure get on the bill?
We just did the application. I think we were really fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to play it. Given that we are like a heavier band, I think sometimes it's difficult for heavy bands to get into that more like mainstream kind of scene, I would say.
Yeah.
But honestly, we just grinded on the application and didn't leave one detail out. And yeah, we were lucky enough to be accepted. So.
That's actually a good point you make there too. Like a lot of bands will fill things out like the applications and they'll breeze through it, just thinking because they know everything, the person reading it will. It's just like a natural thing. But you've got to be very meticulous, don't you? You've got to read their questions and you've got to answer them properly and give them everything they want. Not too much, not nothing more. Don't give them excess. Just give them what they want. But I think a lot of bands could slow down a little bit more and take that extra time.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's very helpful to also imagine like being in the person's shoes that's actually looking at the application. And obviously they would get thousands of applications. So yeah, I think really taking the time with the application helped us out a lot.
I think one other big thing to put in there too, like a lot of things say like specifically no EPKs and no this and that, but a lot of bands don't notice that and they send them, and that's when people look at it and they'll just go, they don't even listen to what I want.
Yeah, it could just be like one thing,
Yeah,
and then it's gone. So
yeah. Yeah, well, that's their problem. You,
yeah.
you're... So as the band, what are you hoping Closure will take out of Big Sound?
I think just a new experience, definitely, and hopefully meeting some people that we haven't had the opportunity to meet before. I feel like, as I said before, being like in a heavier kind of band, it's obviously a really tight knit community. So I think meeting other people, obviously we're self-managed at the moment, so we don't have a manager. So I think that would be really something that would be a massive thing if we could maybe connect with some people and have a conversation about that. But honestly, just getting out there, supporting people. I think back like when I was younger, I went to heaps of shows, and that's kind of how I've gotten closure other shows before we had Destroyer Lines to help us out. You meet a band and you go, oh, it'd be awesome if we played in Melbourne next year together. And then it just creates new opportunities.
Yeah,
I honestly just think it's the number one thing to network. Like,
100%.
I still think to this day, going out and like showing up for other bands, like, don't only go to your set. I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, public perception is a big thing with that. Like you say, like you do play your set and go home, like people just look at you and go, "Who do they think they are?" Like it's sort of you should want to do it, but if you don't want to do it, still do it because it's noticed. definitely. Definitely. And you mentioned the whole networking thing. It is very important in the industry. But the good thing about Big Sound is you know who's going to be there. Like as an artist, you would have got the same sort of list of who's going to be there. So you can plan your trip out. Like you know, right, I want to meet this person. So they're
Yeah,
going to be such and such certain time. And you make a point of actually meeting them and staying sober enough to meet them when you're gonna.
yeah, for sure. 100%.
Nice. Now, Closure recently released your debut EP, The Sweet Suffering, as well. So how was the reception for that?
Really good. Honestly, a lot better than I thought it would be, considering it's a new direction for us. We were kind of more like the techie pop punk with like little elements of hardcore back in like 2020. And now we've fallen in love with, well, we've always been in love with post-hardcore, but it's just even more, I think our passion has grown for it. So I think our listeners have really, it's been received really well. Um, and I think everyone is really enjoying the more mature sound, I would say.
Yeah. Well, as a band, like going from more of the pop punk thing to your post hardcore, like that's a big step musically. Like, did you have to sort of sit down and have discussions about how you were going to move forward with that, or was it more instinctive?
I think it kind of came naturally, to be honest, because we've always had the elements of heaviness.
Mhm.
And I think as we've grown up, like I started Closure when I was 17 and I'm 23 now. So I think as we've grown up, and matured, and now we're not kids anymore, I think we've kind of just, we want to write what we want to write, and we want the people that love that kind of music to hopefully resonate and hopefully like it as well. So we kind of just did what felt right. And we didn't necessarily like sit down and try and write an EP. We just wrote a bunch of songs and they all fell together, and yeah.
Yeah. And is it easy integrating the old songs and the newer songs together in a live set list? Like you're going to have to phase them out eventually because they are different.
I think eventually we'll have to phase them out for sure. Um, I think we want to phase them out.
Yeah.
You play a song for so long and you kind of just you have to play it because it's the song that you have that people know or whatever. But the first song we ever released, Bedroom, we've stopped playing that live. Which is a very difficult decision to make because people come and they go, "Oh, why didn't you play that song?" We're gonna save those songs for like headliners and stuff like that when we do have more time. But when we've only got like 30 minutes, we want to make it as jam-packed as possible. So,
And you want to represent the future of the band, not so much the past.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now on that EP, like you guys took a very DIY approach. Like you had your guitarist Lachlan handled mixing duties, your drummer Callum looked after the visuals, you had friends looking after photography and videography, which these days is great because you can do it from home and the tools are there. But what are some of the advantages and disadvantages? Like having someone in-house do it, you haven't got that outside set of ears, I guess. Listen to it
Yeah,
being critical.
yeah, 100%. So, our guitarist Lachlan, he produced and he mixed the whole thing. We did that at Sonora Studios on the Central Coast. And the owner of that studio actually taught Lockie how to do recording and producing.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to use that space. And we had Jack, who owns the studio, popping down and he was helping with mixes. Even small stuff like, oh, the snare's popping out a bit there, or the vocals could be a bit louder in that section. So it definitely got sent around to our friends in the industry and people that would know how to comment. Not for like mix notes or anything like that, but just like if you heard this song, what stands out and what needs to be
Yeah,
changed.
yeah,
So that was really helpful. I think an advantage would be because these songs are so personal, it's kind of like the feeling of releasing it. Obviously, we're proud, but it just feels like an extra step because we've done it ourselves. And I think the disadvantage would be the hours of mixing the song.
yeah. True.
But Lockie, yeah, he's amazing. He's probably the most talented person I know. So he absolutely smashed it. And yeah, honestly, you just can't believe it's out, to be honest. So yeah.
Nice. So what's next for Closure? What else you've got happening other than Big Sound?
We've got a fair bit. So we're playing a mental health festival in Newcastle called Minds Matter on the 30th of August. And then we go up to Brizzy for Big Sound. And then we've got a couple other little things that aren't announced yet. Something in Sydney in November, which
Mhm.
we're really, really excited for. And then yeah, hopefully just more shows. We took like a year off touring and playing to get this EP out. So hopefully we're just going to be touring and playing and there'll be more music next year and yeah.
Nice. So where's the best place for people to keep up with Closure, I guess, and get your stuff?
I would say Instagram. So it's at Closure Sydney on Instagram. I think it's at Closure Sydney on everything, to be honest. But yeah, Instagram, we're pretty active. We do live streams and have chats and stuff on there. So
Fantastic. All right, Lucy. Well, thanks very much for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Closure will be at Big Sound in Brisbane between September the 2nd and the 5th, and I'll make sure I mark you down on my to-do list and come and check us out.
awesome. Thank you so much.